It's Friday, that means it's story time, and I get to share another one of my favorite stories. This one's called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. I remember this story from when I was in kindergarten. It's the first time I heard it, but it's a very, very famous story, and it's one that's been told for hundreds and hundreds of years to teach children, don't lie. It's a dangerous thing to lie because then people won't believe you, okay? So here's our story. I'm going to turn the camera and make it a little bit easier, okay? So just stay put there. So here we go. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Once upon a time, a young shepherd boy lived in a quiet village. Many of the villagers owned sheep, and it was the boy's job to take care of them. The sheep were very important. They provided meat and wool for their owners. The villagers trusted the boy to take good care of the flock. Every day was the same. The boy ate his breakfast, he kissed his mother and father goodbye, he walked the sheep to a pasture full of green grass. He made sure that the sheep got plenty of exercise and fresh food, and he kept them safe. In the pasture, the sheep grazed while the boy watched them. He also kept a lookout for wolves, because they love to eat sheep. You know what a wolf is? It's a lobo. If he did see a wolf, the boy was supposed to yell to the villagers, who would come chase it away. But the boy never saw a single wolf. Day after day, he watched the sheep. But they were very boring. All they did was eat, nap, and eat some more. The boy had some fun swinging from the branches, clambering over rocks, and chasing lambs. But soon these games grew old, and nothing kept him amused for very long. One day, the shepherd boy had an idea to make things more exciting. He would play a trick on the villagers. What if he pretended that a wolf had come to the pasture? That was sure to be much more exciting than just watching the sheep all day. He climbed the tree and yelled, "Wolf! Wolf! Everyone come quick!" In the village, everyone heard the boy's cries. The farmers dropped their tools, the baker dropped her bread, the grocer dropped his groceries, and they ran all the way to the meadow as fast as they could. They had to chase away the wolf before he snatched any of the sheep. When they arrived, there was no wolf to be seen, and the sheep were calmly munching grass. The villagers were very confused. What was going on? They all turned to the shepherd boy, who was laughing under the tree. "You look so funny running up here. What a great joke." None of the villagers laughed. They didn't think it was so funny to drop what they were doing and run all the way to the pasture for nothing. "We have to go back to work now," said the baker with a sigh. "We don't have time for pranks." Uh-oh. She does not look happy, does she? That night, the boy's parents explained that the villagers couldn't just stop what they were doing because of some trick. The farmers' fields had been trampled and had to be replowed. The baker's cakes had burned, and she had to remake them. And the grocer's vegetables were ruined when he dropped them on the floor. The villagers spent a few days grumbling about what the boy did. But before long, everything was back to normal. The villagers worked, the sheep were safe in the pasture, and the boy didn't play any more tricks. But before long, the boy grew bored again, and he decided to play the same prank. That morning, he ate his breakfast, kissed his parents goodbye, and walked the sheep to the pasture. Once they were all settled in, the boy cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is stealing our sheep!" Once again, the villagers dropped what they were doing and raced to the pasture. But when they arrived, there was no wolf to be seen. The villagers counted the sheep and saw that they were all there. But where was the shepherd boy? Had the wolf snatched him? Suddenly, the villagers heard something from behind a big rock. It was the boy, and he was laughing so hard, tears were running down his face. "I tricked you again," he said. The villagers sighed and went back to the village. That night, the boy's parents gave him another stern talk and sent him to bed without his supper. The boy felt very sorry for what he had done, and he promised not to play any more tricks. He would just do his job without making anyone else mad at him. From then on, the boy worked very hard every day. He walked the sheep to the pastures, watched them graze, and kept an eye out for the wolves. He did all this without getting sidetracked. One day, the boy noticed that the sheep were acting strangely. The rams walked nervously around the pasture and bleated loudly, while the ewes and lambs huddled together. Just then, the shepherd boy saw something out of the corner of his eye. He turned quickly, but only saw a dark blur dash behind a rock. What was that? The shepherd boy wondered. It looked awfully large. Just then, the creature darted out from behind the rock. It was a wolf, and he was running straight for the sheep. Before the boy could even blink, the wolf snatched a lamb and gobbled it up. Then he quickly ran back into the flocks and grabbed another one. The boy was horrified. "Wolf!" he yelled. "Wolf, everybody please come quick! The wolf, help! Help!" In the village, the boy's cries echoed through the streets. "What's going on?" someone asked. "Oh, it's just that shepherd kid playing another trick," said the baker. "Just ignore him. He'll stop yelling soon enough." Nobody believed that there was really a wolf this time, so nobody paid any attention to the boy's cries. The farmers continued working the field, the baker mixed her dough, and the grocer stayed in his store. Meanwhile, the wolf snatched every single sheep from the pasture. The boy had yelled and waved his arms, trying to scare away the wolf, but the creature took no notice of him. Finally, the wolf walked off, his belly swollen and full of all the sheep he had eaten. The shepherd boy stared in shock at the empty field. He could not believe how quickly that wolf had gobbled up the flocks. If only the villagers had come to scare the wolf away. Finally, the boy walked sadly back to town. He felt terrible the sheep were gone, and even more so because it was all his fault. He never should have tricked the villagers. And so the shepherd boy learned his lesson. No one believes a liar, even if he is telling the truth. That was a very hard lesson for that boy, wasn't it? He lied. He was just having fun. He didn't think it mattered. You know what? Children here on Storytime, they lie all the time. I can't believe it. You know what? It's not just the children. It's the mommies and daddies too. They lie about everything. Oh, yes, I practiced my homework. Oh, yes, my little boy, I helped him with his homework. No, you didn't. You're lying. And you know what? Then the children don't learn. Oh, yes, my little girl practiced. She's doing her work. Oh, yes, I practiced. But then you know what? Then when it's time, the children don't know their lessons. It happens all the time. I've had mommies and daddies lie to me so much. You know why the mommies and daddies lie? One reason is because that's what they were taught to do, because their mommies and daddies lie. But another thing is their children don't want to do the schoolwork. And it's easier just to lie and say, oh, yes, my child did it, than to say, no, you do your work. You obey your mama. So the mommies and daddies let it go. But you know what? That's not good, because then the children don't learn their lessons, right? But it's the same way with lying about everything. See, I have some children that when they turn in their papers to me, this looks very pretty. I had one little boy turns in very pretty papers. And I thought, this isn't this little boy's work. Somebody else is doing it. Because last year when that little boy was in class, he did ugly work and he lied about everything. So this year when somebody said, oh, yes, he's doing the work, I thought, nah, he's not doing that. He's a liar. He lies about everything. And his work is ugly and messy and he's lazy. And then I found out that the little boy really is doing his work. But I didn't believe him. I didn't believe his mama or anybody else. Because why? That little boy's a liar. And his mama tells lies. And everybody here tells lies. So I don't know who to believe. So when people tell me things, you know what? I don't believe them. Isn't that a sad way to live? I want to believe what everybody tells me. But you know what? I have lived on this island for 16 years and people lie about everything. So I have learned, I don't believe anything people say. I want to, but I can't. God doesn't want us to lie. He wants our word to be true, 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 always, right? The same way God never lies to us. He doesn't want us to lie either. You wouldn't want your mama to lie to you. Oh, if you do this, I'm going to give you this special gift. So you work really hard. You do whatever it is that your mama wants, and then she doesn't give it to you. No, you don't want your parents to lie to you. And you shouldn't lie to them either, right? Your mommy and daddy should never lie to you, right? Always, always, always tell the truth.